I ordered an aloof, elegant succubus online, but she was constantly purring, staring at me in silence, and her body was burning hot. Worried she was sick, I rushed to contact customer support. After hearing my description, the representative went quiet. "Sir, is it possible she's not sick, but just so hungry she wants to kiss you? Or maybe do something a little naughtier?" I spent a fortune online for a female succubus. The product description noted she had a cool, sophisticated air and, most importantly, was extremely capable. That last part really spoke to me, so without a second thought, I clicked buy now. But just after I placed the order, a customer service rep messaged me directly. "Hello there, the succubus you've selected is gorgeous, but she has a bit of a cold personality, and since she's reached maturity, her stamina is also incredibly strong. If you feel you can't handle this model, we'd suggest a refund and we can recommend a gentler type for you." "No need," I replied. "This cool and capable model is exactly what I'm looking for." Hearing this, the rep sent a cryptic, "Very well, sir. The succubus will arrive at your home on schedule. We wish you a happy life together, every day." A few days later, a slender, long-legged female succubus with a detached expression knocked on my door. The first sight of her left me stunned. It was common knowledge that succubi were exceptionally beautiful with enchanting features, but this was on another level. You'd think some noble, untouchable heiress had decided to slum it. "Master," the succubus addressed me, her voice cool and distant, yet it tickled my ear like a soft, fluffy brush, sending a shiver through me. I waved my hands awkwardly. "No, you don't have to call me master, just call me Noah. By the way, do you have a name?" "My name is Claire." As she spoke, she presented her tail to me. It was beautiful with a small heart-shaped tip. "As per the regulations, you need to hold my tail to confirm receipt." I quickly grasped her tail. It was smooth and soft, a wonderful texture. I couldn't resist giving it a little stroke. Claire let out a muffled groan. Thinking I'd squeezed too hard, I immediately let go and apologized. "I'm sorry, did I hurt you?" Claire lowered her gaze to me, licked her lips, and a strange purring sound rumbled in her throat. "No, I just wasn't ready." "Oh, good, good." Believing her purring was due to nervousness, I quickly tried to reassure her. "Don't be nervous. Why don't you rest for a bit? There's a lot of physical work to be done later. If you want, we can start now." "Now?" I hesitated slightly. "Yes, that's fine." "Okay." Claire's purring grew a little more distinct. I reached out, took her arm, and said gently, "Why are you still so tense?" "It's okay, you'll relax once we get started. Come with me." She obediently followed me into the kitchen. Then her expression froze. "In the kitchen?" "Yes, the kitchen. What's wrong? Would you prefer to start in the bedroom?" I asked considerately. Her gaze was heavy and hot. "The kitchen is fine." I nodded, turned around, and under her burning stare, I placed a brand new cleaning cloth in her hand. "All right, Claire," I said gently. "I'll have to trouble you, my capable succubus, to help me with some chores today. You know how to wash dishes, right?" "Wash dishes?" Claire stared at the cloth in her hand, her face a mask of confusion, shock, and utter disarray. "Yeah, if you don't know how, you can mop the floor, sweep, do laundry, or any other housework. Just pick whatever you're comfortable with." She asked in disbelief. "Wait, you bought me just to do housework?" I blinked. "Yeah, what else?" The next moment, I heard the purring in her throat come to an abrupt halt. "That's right, I bought Claire to do my chores. I got this brilliant idea after overhearing a colleague. He'd also bought a succubus online and was always bragging in the break room about how diligent and obedient she was, always cooking, cleaning, and doing all sorts of housework for him, making him deliriously happy every night." While other colleagues snickered knowingly, my simple mind latched onto a key phrase, helping with housework. My eyes lit up. As a corporate workhorse buried in work, I had no time to clean my apartment, which had turned into a complete sty, much to my distress. So having a succubus who could do chores seemed like an incredible deal. That's why I ordered Claire, the most capable one. I glanced at the figure washing dishes in the kitchen with a cold expression and went to bed feeling perfectly content. Over the next week, my capable succubus Claire threw herself into the housework. She was a bit clumsy at first, but became proficient in just a couple of days. She was very smart. When I woke up, she'd make my bed. When I washed my face, she'd hand me a towel. When I came home from work, a delicious dinner would be waiting. Before bed, there was even a bed warming service. Lying in the sheets she had silently warmed with her body heat and fragrance, I let out a long, satisfied sigh. My very soul felt relaxed. This was great, so great. Worth every penny for the most expensive succubus. This was so practical. The only thing that puzzled me was that Claire was always purring, that low rumble in her throat. At first I thought it was because she was new and felt scared or nervous, but a month passed, and she was still purring. Every night, she'd lie on the floor by my bed, not speaking, not entertaining herself, just staring at me with wide, unblinking eyes. Her beautiful tail would sweep lightly across the floor, looking mournful and wronged. I worriedly touched Claire's forehead. It was burning hot. Was this succubus seriously ill? I quickly patted the space on my bed. Claire, don't sleep on the floor tonight. Sleep next to me. I can sleep on the bed. Claire was taken aback. I took her hand, my heart aching for her. You always could have. From now on, you'll sleep next to me. With permission granted, Claire brought her blanket and lay down beside me. A beautiful, cool succubus nestled in my pink pillow, her facial features perfectly defined and unmarred by gravity. The sight was so stunning it made my mouth go dry. The only thing was, she was still purring and her temperature was frighteningly high. Claire, you just rest well tonight. You don't have to get up early to make me breakfast tomorrow. But you'll be hungry. I'll just grab a breakfast burrito on my way out. That's not healthy. I'll make it for you, she insisted, her gaze fixed on me, or rather, on my lips moving as I spoke. Her eyes were dark with a barely contained desire. My clueless self was just busy being moved. Ah, how could there be such a thoughtful and caring succubus? I was the careless one, failing to take proper care of her and letting her get sick. A wave of guilt washed over me, and I couldn't help but lean over and kiss her on the forehead to express my remorse. Claire's eyelashes fluttered and her breath hitched. She called my name, her voice hoarse. Noah, just as she was about to raise her arms to hug me. I, oblivious to the change, had already pulled back and was tucking her in, my heart full of pity. I even managed to tuck in her restless hand and twitching tail, fearing she'd catch a cold. I even warned her sternly. Be good, don't move, and no kicking off the covers. Claire closed her eyes, a look of utter resignation on her face. After turning off the lights, I lay with my back to Claire and pulled out my phone, my heart heavy as I opened the chat with customer support. Hi, I think something's wrong with my succubus. The rep replied, Sir, for any basic care questions, you can consult the Succubus Care Manual. Oh, my apologies, I forgot to send you the manual last time. I typed back. It's okay, I don't think the manual can solve this. I suspect she's sick, seriously sick. The rep grew concerned. Sir, can you describe her symptoms in detail? She's always purring, her temperature is very high, and she's always staring at me pitifully. Customer support. That's perfectly normal. It just means she really enjoys being with you. I was surprised. So this is normal? I thought she got sick from doing chores every day. Customer support was shocked. Doing chores? Wait, you're making your succubus do chores. I was confused. Is that wrong? Your promotional material says succubi are very capable and can bring humans ultimate happiness every day. No wonder your succubus is acting strange, the rep said, hesitating. Hearing this, I got anxious again. So she is sick, right? Customer support. Sir, she's not sick. She's just hungry. Hungry? But she eats properly every day. I replied, completely baffled. The rep, clearly at their wits' end, sent a long text. It's not that kind of hunger. She's so hungry she wants to kiss you or do other naughty things. After all, succubi aren't meant for housework. They're meant to help humans relieve their desires. In other words, your succubus is in a state of intense craving and is desperately trying to get your attention. It's just that her advances have been completely lost on you. They even sent a winking emoji. Craving? Tension? Crap. I hurriedly opened the Succubus Care Manual I'd never bothered with and read it carefully. I fell silent. So succubus weren't for housework? I turned my head and found that the succubus who was supposed to be asleep had woken up at some point. She was now staring at me plaintively, her pupils having turned into little hearts. Her tail was tentatively, almost stickily, brushing against my waist through the blanket. So I hadn't noticed, hadn't used any force. Seeing me turn, she flinched and quickly hid her tail, but she couldn't stop herself from inching closer. calling out to me in a strained voice. Her low tone was like a mint-flavored candy, soft and clinging. Master, I feel uncomfortable. She had said this a few days ago, calling me master in that same sticky way, but back then I thought she was just being whiny from a cold and fever. I had given her what I thought was a caring, but was actually a cruel, few glasses of hot water. It was surprisingly effective. She stopped purring that night, though her face turned dark green like a sulking puppy. But now, thinking about what the customer service rep said, I couldn't help but cough guiltily and lift my own blanket. Do you want to come sleep in my bed? Claire paused, then said in a raspy, yes. Claire slid into my bed in a flash. Somehow, she had also managed to naturally take off her top. Her smooth, delicate skin practically blinded my titanium-grade eyes. She rested her face near my hair scattered on the pillow, then lifted her eyelids to stare at me, her gaze heavy and greedy, tracing a path from my eyebrows to my mouth. Even for someone as dense as me, I could feel that I was now lying next to not a quiet cat, but an aggressive fox. It was just that without her master's permission, she didn't dare make a move. I cleared my throat and first apologized. Claire, I'm so sorry. I've never had a succubus before, so I had no idea about your biological needs, the, hungry kind of needs. I thought you were just partners who help humans with chores. It's okay. I like doing chores for you. As she spoke, her purring intensified, becoming almost urgent. I swallowed nervously. I remembered the first piece of advice from the manual. Just when a succubus is hungry, you can proactively move into their embrace and let them hold you. The master's body heat and scent can effectively alleviate their anxiety and hunger. So I said, Claire, if you're really uncomfortable, you can hold me, okay? Her eyes lit up and she wrapped her arms around me. The hug was proper at first, but after a moment, seeing that I was just blushing and showed no signs of disgust, she immediately grew bolder. One hand pressed against my back, the other wrapped around my waist, her tail pressed tightly against my leg, and she buried her face in my neck. Sniffing. The warm breath on my skin made my consciousness begin to fog. Oh my God, this succubus's firm and supple skin was the real deal. Felt like an even better bargain now. After nuzzling me for a while, Claire suddenly said in a hoarse, Noah, I still feel uncomfortable. My head spinning as I secretly admired her body, I instinctively asked, So what do you want to do? She looked up. Can I kiss you? I hesitated. Maybe not. That's too intimate. I was genuinely embarrassed. Claire's eyes drooped in disappointment. Okay, it's fine. I'm not that uncomfortable, really. Just holding you should be enough to get through it. You should sleep, master. Don't worry about me. I'll still make you breakfast tomorrow morning. Strange, I could faintly smell a hint of manipulation. But I was already so captivated that I immediately said with, Don't get me wrong. I didn't mean anything by it. I just think kissing is a bit too fast. And don't be so hard on yourself, since I have you. I have to be responsible for you. Really, if you want to kiss, then kiss, but only one kiss. I said, biting my lip shyly. Thank you, master. Claire lifted her face from my neck. I expected her to kiss me impatiently to relieve her hunger, but instead she kissed my chin first. Then she stuck out her tongue and licked me like a small animal, slowly trying to please me. I dazedly thought, right, succubi are naturally clingy creatures. But the wet feeling on my chin made me instinctively raise my fingers to wipe it, naturally brushing against Claire's lips. She smoothly began to kiss my fingers, staring at me the whole time, her eyes dark and inky. She looked even more like a cat now. I couldn't take it anymore. I used my other hand to tug her tail and urged, Claire, hurry up and kiss my lips. Stop playing around. I'll even let you kiss me a little longer, okay? The consequence of indulging a succubus was that my lips were swollen and my tongue was bitten. The culprit, now fed and satisfied, was holding an ice pack to my lips, having reverted to her cool, quiet demeanor. Does it hurt? No, it doesn't hurt. I shook my head, blushing, still gently holding her tail. After all, shameless me had also enjoyed the kiss. A succubus is truly a succubus, so good at making humans lose their minds, making them want to cast everything aside and just play and be intimate with them. Thinking about the stimulating, heart-pounding scene from just now, I cleared my throat, trying to regain some semblance of sanity. I needed something to cool down, or I was afraid I'd become the aggressor. Claire, Do you succubi have to do intimate things with your master whenever you feel that kind of hunger to get back to normal? Claire nodded. Yes. Did you do this with your previous master, Claire? I didn't have a previous master. You're my only master. I was surprised but understood. Right? What buyer would ever return her? But she shook her head again. It's not like that. Succubi are divided into high-grade and low-grade. Low-grade ones can only wait to be bought and kept by humans. High-grade succubi can live freely in human society, have equal status with humans, and even possess great wealth. You're so beautiful, and you're considered low-grade? I don't buy that. I can't believe there's a succubus more beautiful than you who was blind enough to classify you as low-grade. A wave of confusion flickered in Claire's eyes. She hesitated for a moment. I don't know. I seem to have lost many of my memories. The shop owner found me. A succubus without identification can only wait to be bought by a human. I immediately felt a pang of sympathy. My mind instantly concocted a tragic, dramatic backstory for Claire, a classic beautiful, weak, and miserable succubus. I quickly hugged her to comfort her. It's okay, you have me now. We'll live a good life together. I'll treat you well. Claire's cool features softened into a slight smile. Once my lips were a little less swollen, I happily snuggled into Claire's arms, and we kissed and cuddled for a while longer. The succubus, her desires finally somewhat sated, was no longer purring so noticeably. She closed her eyes peacefully and fell asleep, the corners of her eyes tinged with red, her lashes thick, and her tail wrapped possessively around my leg. But I, who had always been rather ascetic, was now wide awake after all that. If I had known a succubus could bring such happiness, I would have dragged her to bed on the very first day. So many wonderful nights wasted. I squinted my eyes, signed to myself for a while, then took out my phone to study the succubus care manual more seriously. If I was going to raise her, I was going to do it right. Just then, a breaking news notification popped up on my phone. Head of O'Connell Corporation, missing for half a month, has been found. The O'Connell family has raised the reward to 9 figures, pleading for information from the public. A picture of the missing person was attached. I swiped it away without a second thought, my mind still blissfully replaying scenes from the care manual. I noticed one line in particular, bolded and enlarged. Succubi are very loyal. They will only love their master for their entire lives, so you must not abandon them or keep a second succubus. Otherwise, they will become excessively jealous and go rogue. Of course I wouldn't abandon her. If I had to describe Claire with an animal, she'd be like a tabby cat, too cool and independent. It was more likely she'd abandon me. After all, for an average-looking, broke human like me, having such a beautiful succubus was already incredibly lucky. The next morning, before leaving for work, I felt a pang of reluctance to leave my cozy haven. I might have seen Claire as a housekeeping partner, but since kissing her last night, the nature of our relationship had changed, tinged with an indescribable possessiveness. Claire, it's a bit chaotic outside lately, don't wander off. A beautiful succubus like you could be snatched by bad people and sold to someone else, and I don't have the money to buy you again. I'll get the groceries on my way back, or I'll go with you, okay? Claire responded coolly, but her throat was still purring. She just lowered her eyes, pretending to be focused on neatly arranging my scarf while I rambled on. Having thoroughly studied the manual, my IQ was now at its peak. I was no longer dense. I keenly noticed her gaze was fixed on my mouth, tracing from the corners to the cupid's bow, hot and longing. My lecturing voice faltered and my own mouth went dry. Claire, are you hungry? Do you want a kiss or a cuddle? Master, can I have both? Claire's voice was low and the title made my knees weak. I nodded instinctively. Of course. You don't have to ask my permission for things like this anymore. I approve. The words had barely left my mouth when she gently pushed my shoulder. The moment my back hit the door, a large shadow fell over me. After one night, Claire was hungry again. The entrance to my apartment was filled with secretive, intimate sounds. I was so dazed by the kiss, my heart pounding, that I wondered if the neighbors walking by downstairs could hear the embarrassing noises. In the end, the harsh reality of being docked pay for being late forced this workhorse to push her face away slightly. My face flushed as Tonight. Wait for me to get home from work tonight. We can kiss more then, or maybe do some other naughty things. Claire's breathing was also ragged. She said, Okay, I'll wait for you then. She then added, I like you, Noah. With that sentence, I finally understood why some good men were always in a rush to get home to their wives, and why my colleague with the succubus was always glowing and prone to being late and leaving early. Having someone waiting for you at home. Who could resist that? Couldn't I? I was craving it too. I was dying to kiss, cuddle, and hold my succubus. Claire's skin was so fair, would pressing on it leave a mark? And what about further down? The more I thought about it, the more excited I got. So that evening, as soon as I got off work, I rushed home, my heart aflutter. As I passed the entrance to my apartment complex, I noticed several top-tier luxury cars parked there, the kind you only see on a rich influencer's social media. Wow, which neighbor struck it rich? How inconsiderate, not sharing the wealth with a poor workhorse like me making $3,500 a month. Ever since I splurged on Claire, my finances had been tight. After rent and utilities, I still had to support her. Claire was so beautiful. How could I let her live a hard life with me? Come on, money, bring me some big money. Muttering about getting rich all the way home, I found the apartment dark. My succubus went grocery shopping? Didn't I tell her to stay home and not wander around? I turned to head to the neighborhood market to find her, but I ran right into Claire coming up the stairs. She seemed a bit strange. When she saw me, "You're back?" I nodded and asked casually, "Where did you go? Why weren't you home?" "I went out to buy groceries." "Oh, so where are the groceries?" I looked suspiciously at her empty hands. Claire was silent for a moment before apologizing. "Sorry, I'll go buy them again." She turned to go back downstairs. I grabbed her arm and said gently, "You don't have to. We have plenty at home." "Okay then, I'll go make dinner." She changed into her slippers and went to the kitchen to cook. Strange. Usually when I got home from work, she'd be waiting by the door, purring like crazy, but tonight she hadn't made a sound. And now she was distracted while chopping vegetables. Her beautiful tail, which usually swayed enticingly, was now drooping with worry. Something was off with Claire. What was wrong with her? Claire remained strangely distant for several days. She was clearly hungry, craving intimacy, but she would just lie quietly beside me, staring. The emotion in her beautiful eyes was unreadable. It got to the point where I was the one who couldn't stand it, proactively kissing her all over her face and playing with her tail until it was slick. Claire continued to do the housework, even getting better at it, turning me, the lazy bum, into an even bigger one. But several times when I came home from work, Claire was gone, mysteriously off doing who knows what. One time, I couldn't help but ask her, "Claire, has something been on your mind lately?" The succubus who was washing my socks mumbled, "It's nothing. I think I might have found my family." I was surprised. "Really? That's great news. Do you need me to take time off to go with you to confirm, or for a family reunion, or something?" "No need. I can go by myself." But then she wrung out the wet socks, turned to look at me, and her thin lips tightened. "Noah, can I be away for a few days?" My heart sank. I didn't want Claire to leave. Her appearance, her every move, and the overwhelmingly noble aura about her all pointed to the fact that Claire was definitely not a low-grade succubus. I had a faint suspicion that she might have been an upper-class lady who had lost her memory and been bought by me by accident. What if she left and never came back? What if she remembered everything and looked down on an ordinary person like me? What if she found another human to be her master? But she had finally found her family, and I couldn't be so heartless as to keep her here. For some reason, I didn't want her to be unhappy and preoccupied like this. Finally, I sighed. "All right, you can go." My permission seemed to surprise Claire. She looked at me with a heavy, serious gaze. "Noah, I will definitely come back." I didn't think too much of it, but that night I wasn't going to let this succubus leave so easily. I had to get my money's worth. I spent so much on her. I couldn't just settle for kisses, cuddles, and housework. We had to get down to business. So I deliberately pushed her onto the bed with a fierce expression, looking down on her and pretending to be rough. "Get your clothes off. You have to serve me for one night before you can go, okay?" Claire obediently took off her top. In the warm yellow light of the bedroom, her perfect figure was on full display. I gulped, my heartbeat deafening, louder than Claire's purring. "All off. The pants too. A good succubus should know to be proactive, you know." "Noah." She didn't move. Instead, she lifted her gaze to look directly at me, then pulled my hand to the drawstring of her pants. "You take them off for me, because everything I have is yours, master." That one submissive title made my legs turn to jelly. I reached out with a trembling hand. After a night of entanglement, I was glad the next day was Saturday, so I didn't have to worry about oversleeping and losing my perfect attendance bonus. But when I opened my eyes, Claire was gone. Breakfast was made, though, and my clothes were folded. I touched my bitten lips, a feeling of emptiness in my chest. I spent 2 days and a days at home. Then it was back to being a workhorse, clocking in and out for that $200 bonus. Life was mundane and shitty. Only occasionally, when I found a small thing Claire had left behind, I would stare at it for a while. A faint sense of lifelessness surrounded me. I wondered if she had reunited with her family, if they were good to her, if she had regained her memories. It's been half a month. Is she coming back? Claire really was just like a tabby cat, abandoning her master so casually. If I had known, I would have chained this succubus up at home to warm my bed and wash my socks every day. A few more days passed. I had just arrived at the office when I overheard my colleagues at the next desk gossiping about some fresh news. Did you guys hear? The missing head of the O'Connell Corporation has been found. I saw the news too. It's a real shame. Such a rich and powerful person getting schemed against by a competitor and losing her memory. But I heard she's been cured. What was her name again? Claire, and she's a rare high-grade succubus. I, who had been zoning out, suddenly looked up. What? Claire? I asked in disbelief. What did you just say the CEO of O'Connell Corporation's name was? My colleague, seeing I joined the gossip, smiled. Claire, you don't usually pay attention to this stuff, Noah, so you probably don't know this. Claire is famous because of her prominent family and looks that are better than any celebrities. She's #1 on the list of succubi humans most want to own. Do you have a picture of her? There are tons online. My colleague swiped on their phone a few times and handed it to me. Here, look. I stared in utter shock at the woman on the screen. She looked exactly like my succubus. No, she was the same person. So not only had I lost my succubus, but I had also lost a 9-figure reward and a chance to ascend to a higher social status. What a disaster. I should have been a sycophant and kissed up to her more. Just as I was feeling both relieved that Claire was found and annoyed at my missed opportunity, my colleague added, Impressive, right? You wouldn't believe it, but she, who's usually so low-key, has become a regular in the financial news lately. She's been liquidating the assets of shareholders who crossed her and dealing with everyone who wronged her. She's ruthless. Their fates are either bankruptcy or doing hard time. She's a truly cold and merciless succubus, so don't mess with anyone, but especially not her. People who want to own her should just keep dreaming. A chill ran down my spine. I instantly realized something. If Claire had regained her memory and considered washing my socks, underwear, and doing all sorts of chores for me a humiliation, would she come after me for revenge? Yes, the answer was. She would most likely chop me, this lazy fish, into minced meat to feed the dogs to vent her anger. I immediately contacted my landlord. Why? To cancel my lease and run, of course. What else? Stick around and wait to be torn to shreds by Claire? I scrambled out of my old den. Luckily, when Claire was at my place, I was too busy making her do chores or fooling around with her to tell her exactly where I worked, so she probably wouldn't be able to find me right away. After lying low for a while, no one came to my door to settle scores, and my anxious heart gradually calmed down. Was I overreacting? A high-grade succubus like Claire, with a status higher than many humans, probably wouldn't bother with an ordinary person like me. Bullying me wouldn't give her any satisfaction. Besides, now that she had her memory back, she had probably forgotten all about me. The latter possibility made my heart feel heavy and sour. I was listless for days. Fine, I'll save up and buy a new one. The new succubus will only be for helping her master with chores. Absolutely no falling in love. Yes, falling in love. It was only after Claire left that I belatedly realized I actually really liked her. I cautiously asked a colleague, Is it normal for a human to like a succubus? My colleague smiled. To a human, a succubus is, to put it nicely, a pet. To put it bluntly, a tool for releasing desires and a form of entertainment. Few people would invest real feelings. I was silent for a long time after hearing that. I never saw Claire as a pet, and certainly never as a tool. I just really liked her. I wanted to kiss her, hug her, and live with her. After I got my paycheck this month, I went back to that online store. I had just placed an order for a cost-effective succubus who bore a slight resemblance to Claire when the customer service rep suddenly messaged me. She kindly reminded me. Sir, I see this is your second order, so I'm here to remind you that two succubi cannot share one master. They will get jealous and even fight. I replied listlessly. I know, but I let the last one go. So you want a refund for your first purchase, sir? If there's no health issue with the succubus herself, we don't support refunds. After all, she left because of you. I know, so I'm not asking for a refund. I just want to buy a new one. The rep replied. Okay, please don't be sad, sir. I will arrange for a new succubus to accompany you as soon as possible. Okay. The customer service rep said it would be quick, but I ended up waiting for half a month. During that time, I tried to follow up on the shipment, but the rep strangely ignored me. Is this how they treat you when you don't spend as much as you did on Claire? Negative review. Fortunately, after half a month, my doorbell finally rang that day. A low, somewhat familiar voice came from outside the door. Your succubus has arrived. Please sign for her. I shuffled to the door in my slippers. Coming. But when I opened the door, I froze. Sage. Claire. There stood Claire, dressed in an expensive-looking dress. Her face was as beautiful as ever, but now it had an unfamiliar, powerful, and sharp edge of a superior. She was staring at me like a vengeful ghost. Noah, you dare to abandon me? Crap, I'm caught. I tried to slam the door shut and pretend I was sleepwalking, but Claire had already stepped inside. She pinned me against the wall. Where do you think you're going? Abandoning me is one thing, but you were going to buy another succubus? Noah, when I left, I should have put you on a leash and taken you with me. You heartless master. She threatened me coldly, one hand on my neck as if measuring it for a collar. But then purr. Amidst the fierce threats, there was that familiar, persistent, and needy purring sound. I, who was about to bow my head and beg for mercy, looked at her in disbelief. She was purring. That meant she was hungry. It also meant she wanted to kiss me, hug me, and maybe do other things. So she didn't want revenge. I was no longer afraid. I tried hard to suppress a smile. Why don't you kiss me before you continue scolding me, Claire? Claire, seeing she'd been found out, looked very annoyed, a petulant kind of annoyed. She cleared her throat. Who wants to kiss you? But you're craving it. As your master, I have to satisfy you. And you still abandoned me. Claire retorted, but the hand on my neck loosened. I quickly wrapped my arms around her neck, cooing softly to my succubus. I didn't abandon you. I just heard about your real identity and was afraid that after you got your memory back, you'd be unhappy about being owned by me and would come back for revenge. That's why I ran. Hearing this, Claire also. I never wanted revenge. I didn't come back sooner because I had too much to deal with. I just finished everything and came to find you. But you had moved. I had someone investigate and found out you were buying another succubus online. Master, you promised you'd only have me. Her voice was cool, but laced with grievance. When she lowered her eyelids, even the shape of her eyes was exquisitely beautiful. Her pitiful look had me completely hooked. I was buying her to do housework. That's my job. Can their brains learn 8 major cuisines in 2 days? Can they sweep a floor properly? Can they warm a bed properly? I hesitated. The other things are fine, but with your current status, is it still appropriate for you to wash my underwear? Claire sneered. Why wouldn't it be? I think it's very appropriate. I couldn't help but laugh. All right, only you can wash them. Let's kiss first. I missed you so much. Claire finally looked satisfied and lowered her head. I missed you too. But just as she was about to kiss me, purring all the while, something occurred to me, something important. I quickly dodged her kiss. Wait. I need to contact customer service for a refund first. Otherwise, not only will I not get the second succubus, but I'll lose my money too, and I don't know if that other succubus is safe now. She might get caught by bad people. Claire's face darkened. She snatched my phone, tossed it aside, and tackled me onto the sofa. She's perfectly fine. We can ask about the refund tomorrow. Master, I'm starving. Tonight, I want to.